any of those things, and what I will try and do is refer to some paintings in the selection here that's up. And I must say, and I'm paid to be here, of course, etc. But and I have to disclose that as you do. But I've admired their selection, and I admire the host here. His selection is good in my understanding of the history of Aboriginal art over the last 20 or 30 years. It's a very fine selection of work, and it's a very stylish selection, which is most probably why I'm here doing this, is because we seem to have a very common eye view on art and appreciation. So I'll begin with this. Previous to that is the flag. We're here because it's NAIDOC week, and everyone knows the Aboriginal flag, I think, and the three primary colours that appear there in that flag of red, yellow, black, red, yellow, black. And of course the four primary colours in Aboriginal art palette is white, red, yellow, black. And those things are against the European palette of, I think there's a blue inside there. I think there's only 3 or 4 colours in the primary colours, aren't there?
3.
3, yeah. That's right. Red, blue and yellow, isn't it?
Yep. Yep.
And of course there's black and white at either end of that. White is the sum of all colours, which is the most interesting thing for white races. They're a collection of everyone, of all races. So white. We won't go along that line. So, this is my schoolyard talk, not that bit, but so, here we are. This is Australia. This is a postcard you can buy, and I call it my backpack of postcards image. And there's 3 of these, and I use them because they really show you the scale of Australia. When we think about Australia and Europe, we may be in awe of Europe, it's so large, all this sort of stuff, and the United States. Am I in camera or not? I don't think.
Oh, sorry.
Well, it's another example of the size of it. If you look at China, and there's Australia. China is actually bigger than Australia, but not by much. When you get to that magnitude, you're not talking about a major difference. And of course, here you have the idea, why in Europe, if you have all those different languages in Europe, why do you not have all these languages within Australia? And the geographical regions that you have in Europe, with Switzerland, with high mountains, and other places, very flat plains and flood plains, the same in Australia. We have a big variation. And
I feel so powerful here. I can make him go faster.
Because it is the only way. Yes,
It'll never happen again.
Keep this going. Yeah. So here in the north you have Arnhem Land, which is interestingly named after Arnhem in Holland. And the curious thing is that Arnhem Land here is actually bigger than Holland itself, the whole of Holland, really. And there was a boat that came here in the 1600s, that's 1620, and that's why this place, Groot Island, is named Groot Island, which is Dutch, and Arnhem Land, after Arnhem. There was a boat called the Arnhem. Now, Adrian hinted at, and I think he showed examples of bark paintings in the Arnhem Land, how they're due largely to demand and to commercialisation in some ways. These two styles have developed. They existed in a form before contact, but then they've now come into this situation of Western Arnhem Land on the left, as it should be. You're looking north, west and east. And the Western Arnhem Land, as I won't play games in school, I'd ask what's the difference between these 2 paintings, or how do you describe them? That one is obviously a figure in space on a bare background, and the other painting is completely filled in with detail and design, and quite often figures, as many figures as in Western Arnhem Land, but the basic thing is the whole thing is filled in. I think the next slide, yes, that's it. And you see that this artwork, it's sort of hypothesised that largely it comes from the rock art that appears in the West along the Arnhem Land escarpment. You have thousands, it's honeycombed with thousands of rock art sites. And these figures, this action figure on the right here, that's in near Coo-ee Rock. If you go to Arnhem Land, you've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I can tell you anything. There are dinosaurs. There are dinosaurs. No, and there almost are dinosaurs in one way. This is an action figure at a place called Coo-ee Rock in Kakadu. And if you go on a tour of Kakadu National Park, this is one of the major art sites. It's unbelievable when you see it and realise these artworks are from 5 to 20,000 years old on this site that human beings live there. And you see this dancing figure here, this very erotic sort of figure in a way, the woman playing skipping rope with the snake type of thing, that I put into an exhibition called Spirit and Land at the MCA in the 1990s. We put a whole set of these paintings, only about the size of an A4 page, as a reference to Eros in art, and there was a whole series of this woman dancing around with the snake. It was just something I happened to see. Now, this is an example of Eastern Arnhem Land art. You see the little, down there's a little image of a painting by a man called Djon Mundine, who's one of the major singers of Arnhem Land. And he's a Yuricha person. I must say there are two divisions, right? Everywhere you go there are these binaries, Eastern and Western, morning and evening. And you could say the Dua people are the morning people, as an M-O-R-N, morning, sunrise people, as against the Yuricha people who are more a sunset group. This design work and the compositions come from body painting. And Carl Cook was the first person who actually started to talk about this in an art sense, and that with a limited space, you have to compact it all the detail into that space. So you find Eastern Arnhem Land paintings that come from body designs. They don't have the rock art escarpment that you have in the West, and so you have the detail packed into that because you've only got a very limited space there to work. Of course, some people are large, some spaces are larger than others. Anyway, we need to say more. And anyway, so you have. There is not the division, I must say this, between art and craft. So this is one of the major painters of this area, Binyan Yui, who's deceased now. But he's mentioned in a number of books, in Cooper's book, I think, and in certainly in Anne Wells' book about life in the Crocodile Islands. And you see him weaving a dilly bag with the diamond design that you saw, if you go back, in the previous, this diamond pattern, which is a honey pattern, which is to do with a honey spirit being. Sorry, just and you can see, I think you can see the diamond pattern in that bag, which is actually woven into the bag and also painted. As part of a man's life, a bag is made, which is almost like a receptacle of his soul. His embryo cord, the cord at birth, is kept in that bag or woven into it. Other bits of relics of deceased people are woven into that. Hair, strips of cloth from deceased people's clothing, etc., and fabric. And his at circumcision, at puberty, his foreskin might be also woven into that bag.